our younger members of the crowd who are here to fight for your own future. Thank you. That's great. You know, one of the great strengths of our country has been the enduring and widespread support for public education. The public education has really provided the ladder up to the American dream. Everybody gets a free, quality education through grade 12. It's not like that in much of the world. That is something that has made us a strong democracy with an educated electorate, and it's something that's made us competitive in the world economy throughout the last century. And it's something we cannot afford to abandon just to advantage a privileged few. Something's really gone wrong. I mean, there's a large majority of the American people think the country's on the wrong track. Many are worried about their jobs, their financial security, their future. They're worried about their kids' jobs, their kids' future. And it's the first generation to begin to believe that perhaps they will not do as well as their parents. That is the beginning of the end of the American dream, and we cannot stand for that.
That's right.
To turn things around, we need to invest. I talk a lot about investing in basics. That would be the public infrastructure of the country: roads, bridges, highways, transit, rail, high-speed rail, dams, jetties, levees, things that allow us to operate an efficient economy. And yes, we need to invest in public education to look to the future for our next generation. Now, there's a bunch of folks in Washington and some running for president who tell us we can't afford these investments anymore. They say America's broke. We can't afford it. You know, this is just an extraordinary thing. The president put forward a proposal, and in part it proposed $35 billion to prevent more layoffs of teachers and cops. And he also proposed a $50 billion investment rebuilding our infrastructure. Well, the Republican leaders, particularly Mr. Cantor, said immediately, those are non-starters. We've tried those things before. They don't work. We're not going to do those things anymore. Yeah, exactly. So, but what will they go for? Well, they'll go for tax cuts and free trade. That is, exporting jobs and advantaging those who've already done so well in our country. They think it's more important to protect tax loopholes and cuts for centimillionaires, billionaires, and multinational corporations that make billions and don't pay a cent in taxes in this country. I tell you what, we have the economy that tax cuts will give us. 10 years of tax cuts, $5 trillion squandered on tax cuts. Look at what it's done. We haven't created jobs, but what we have done is undermined the things that made this country great. A strong and vibrant American public with a good public education, a decent infrastructure, and a social safety net for those who happen to fall. I got a simple question for you. Here it is. It's like today's quiz. Now, who adds more value to American society? Would that be a $45,000 teacher or, say, a police sergeant? Or would it be a Wall Street billionaire hedge fund manager? What do you think? How about teachers? Yeah! How about our police and fire? Yeah! How about the Wall Street hedge fund speculator? All right, I like that. Thanks. You know, I have a pretty personal relationship, sort of, with one of these billionaires from Wall Street. He owns 3 hedge funds. And one of his heads, the Republicans call these guys job creators, and we've got to protect those tax cuts. Well, this particular job creator, who spent $750,000, one guy against me in the last election to help my opponent, who wants to abolish public education. That's my opponent's official position. We should abolish public education, although he's trying to deny that now. He's advocated it for more than a decade. But this one job creator, one of his 3 hedge funds, employs 2 people who watch the supercomputers. And one day, this job creator's 2 employees traded 70% of the volume on the NASDAQ. Now tell me that's investing in the future of America, providing stable investments for the American people, stable capital for our business, or anything of value to this society except this one guy. And guess what? This one guy does not pay a penny in Social Security taxes, although he earns hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And he pays a tax rate half of what the teachers in this audience pay. That's a job creator. It's time that people like that paid their fair share. Warren Buffett had it right. He said, stop coddling the multimillionaires and the billionaires. He thinks it's embarrassing that he pays taxes at half the rate of his personal assistant, and it's time for them to pitch in and help rebuild the American dream. And President Obama has proposed legislation to do that, and it's being blocked, and we need that because we need the money to invest in the real economy, put people back to work, and in public education for our kids. Need to repeal all the Bush tax cuts, impose the Buffett tax, and then I have a special new one that I'll be introducing this week in Congress, and Tom Harkin will be introducing in the Senate next week, which will be a modest, very modest tax on speculative activity on Wall Street. We want them to pay for their own mistakes, no more too big to fail, and we want them to pay a little bit for this society, a fair share toward a future for all Americans, not just the 1%. We need to do these things to restore hope. As I said in a speech about Occupy Wall Street, I said, maybe these young people haven't been totally focused in what they think needs to be done. I don't blame them, but they know one thing. They know that their future has been stolen from them. The American dream has been stolen away from them. It's locked somewhere in a vault on Wall Street, and we have the keys to pry open that vault and restore the American dream and